Hi, I'm Alan Sagano. I'm the president of ADS Consulting Group, and thanks a lot for listening to this tip of the week on our IT channel. So today's tip is about SimpliVity and disaster recovery. So if you've been listening to the channel before, you know we're very big on SimpliVity. It's a hyper-converged platform where you're able to consolidate compute, storage, backup, WAN accelerators. But one of the really cool things about SimpliVity is that it allows you to back up in as little as every 15 minutes. We typically back up once an hour in our data center for all our clients during business hours. But the other really cool thing you can do with this is you can replicate data to a remote site. Now the downside is that you have to replicate SimpliVity to take advantage of this technology. But they have a very, very sophisticated disk deduplication system. Essentially what it does is before it goes to write anything, when it replicates or when it backs up for that matter, it looks at the pattern and goes, wait a minute, do I have this pattern anywhere stored in the entire federation of SimpliVity storage? Usually the answer is yes. So instead of rewriting the data, what it does is it just creates a pointer to that data, and so you don't have to rewrite the data, you just create a pointer to that data. Where this advantage really comes up is with disaster recovery and replication to a remote site. So we have clients that are replicating, let's say, once an hour, and they might be replicating logically, several terabytes worth of data, 4 or 5 terabytes worth of data. But because of that disk deduplication, it checks to see if it already has the pattern. Usually it's yes, so it just sends the patterns on disk that it doesn't have. Bottom line is, you might be replicating logically 4 terabytes of data. What goes across the wire might be a couple hundred meg at best, depending on the rate of change, how fast things are changing. And the advantage of that is that you can replicate in a much shorter interval. So we typically replicate to our DR site once an hour, and it usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes to actually get there. So what it can do is significantly cut down on your recovery point objective. Back in the day before this type of technology existed, unless you had very, very sophisticated hardware with a really fast link between the data centers, you'd be lucky to get RPOs of 1 day or 8 hours, basically. With this newer technology, with SimpliVity, since you can replicate once an hour, your recovery point objective is basically an hour, and on average you would lose half an hour, right? Because you can't really predict when it's going to go down. Worst case, it would be 60 minutes. On average, it would be 30 minutes. It's pretty amazing technology. If you're really serious about disaster recovery, check out SimpliVity. It allows you to really shorten that recovery point objective, and as well as the recovery time objective. It makes it pretty easy to flip over from one side to another. In another video, I'll talk about how we use layer 2 to extend subnets across the wide area connection, a layer 2 connection, which basically simplifies the recovery process by like a 5 million %. But anyway, that's our tip of the day. So if you're really serious about shortening your recovery point objectives, consider using SimpliVity as part of your disaster recovery infrastructure plans. Thanks a lot for listening. If you like this content, please hit that subscribe button. We'll keep making this content. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.